We are here with the stars of Stand Against Evil, John C. McGinley, Janet Varney, and Dana Gould. Thank you for joining us here in the Citizen Lounge.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Pretty sweet setup.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't want gray couches and the Hulk looking over your shoulder?
Well, I don't want to sit anywhere that doesn't have at least 2 clocks. Never mind. We're good.
How are you enjoying New York Comic Con? How long y'all been? You've been running around. I'm sure you're very, very busy.
We got here this morning, but it's been great. So I mean, I love New York Comic Con, and it's a manageable Comic Con. Comic Con you can wrap your head around. Sometimes you go to these conventions and you can't see the other end of the convention because of the curvature of the earth, and here you can actually comprehend it, so it's fun. It's nice.
Yeah.
I understand. Yeah.
So it's October. I hear there's some big things happening in October on Halloween.
Indeed.
Season 3 is coming out.
Yep.
Tell the fans a little bit about what they should be expecting.
Well,
I hear there's going to be more evil, and that there's going to be fighting against this evil.
The last
But
thing that
who's
happened.
doing it?
The last thing Dana wrote was that the portal to hell was left open, and
No big deal.
now the earth is inhabited by demons and witches. And what Dana did, what took a lot of spine, was instead of employing kind of an old TV convention of somebody either knocking their head against the wall or having a bad dream or slipping in the shower, whatever the Dallas thing was, Dana made the 2 protagonists chart a course through their own personal hells.
Ugh.
And if they can get through, this is a little esoteric for Stan, but it's genius. If the 2 protagonists can chart a way through their own personal hells, they'll get to come back to the real world. And so Dana kind of owned it. Instead of using some tired-ass convention, he made them go through their personal hells, which was fascinating.
And that the personal hell is just not about, like, working with each other. This is literally...
No, that's personal heaven.
There we go.
I love me
That's
some
right.
Janet Varney.
That's
Oh,
right.
not personally,
Let's
the
Stan and
characters.
Evie. Yeah, no.
And Stan and Evie do love each other. One of the things I learned on The Simpsons was big stories little, little stories big. And so a big story is hell has invaded the earth. Well, what's the smallest way you can tell that story? My favorite comedy film is Dr. Strangelove, which tells the story of the thermonuclear war, and it's 21 people in 9 rooms.
Wow.
So it's a great device that I just learned and put it to use, and it made it really fun to do. And also, like we were talking before, like I'm a giant Rod Serling fan. You're a giant Rod Serling fan. I often go like, well, what would the Twilight Zone episode of this be?
Yes.
What would it be? And that really helped me congeal it.
And it
Steal
really-
from the best.
Well, and it really says a lot, right? If you look at anything Sterling did, if you couldn't place into somewhere else, like you couldn't place the characters' journeys, not necessarily what's going on around them being in their own personal hell, but like if you couldn't place them into something else and the unbelievability isn't believable, then you
Right.
haven't gotten to the root of the story. So yeah, that's great.
People will believe the impossible, but not the improbable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Take that with you. It's a lesson for all you aspiring writers and artists out there. One thing I want to talk about, because I know you're in season 3, so how would you say that the characters have evolved from where they began to where they are now? Because it's such a unique show, and you two are so wonderful in it. How has that relationship been? How is that
Well, one thing Dana wrote, he called me, he texted me from the 405 going southbound, and he goes, here's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm doing with Stan season 3. Everything you've ever done, you, Stan, have ever done in your life, every decision you've ever made, every opinion you've ever had has only led to inadequacy and horrible things. Now, you're going to have to reverse all that. Can Stan? Does he want to? Does he have the tools to do it? Call action and get out of my eye line.
I like that.
Yeah. If Dana had texted me from a freeway, he
You would've
could have
yelled at
said,
me.
don't worry, I'm dealing with Evie's personal hell in episode 1, not yours. So you have nothing to worry about. And then we started filming, and I was put into restraints in an insane asylum, and I was like, oh no, my friend, that's also my personal hell. It's my biggest fear. Thank you very much. I hope I'm not too emotionally scarred to complete the rest of the season.
Yeah, that was Evie comes to accused of murder in an insane asylum, and the more she describes what happens, the crazier she sounds. So she's really in a personal conundrum, and it's difficult for Janet because Janet is the audience's eyes into the show, so she has to maintain a level of stability and accessibility. So you don't get the juicy or crazy arcs over the course of the season, but I've got an idea about I'd like to see them switch places in terms of their perspectives.
Ooh.
And I think that that's sort of set up nicely now.
Yeah, but I also get to play a vampire this season, so I come out all right.
Who doesn't want to play a vampire?
I didn't know how bad I wanted to until
you
I got
do a
fitted
lot
for
of
fangs.
stuff,
And
but
then I was like, hey, now.
Yeah.
This is new, and I think I like it.
Yeah. I played a vampire on the Thrilling Adventure Hour, but I never had fangs. That's all just voice stuff.
Yeah.
So
You're all
once you
fanged
get
up now,
fitted
yeah.
for those, once you get fitted for those, you find out
Who you
how
really are.
fast you might like the
Maybe
taste of
I
blood. I don't know.
actually am.
Listen,
Maybe
it's
Janet's not
possible.
only all fanged up, she's smoking hot as a vampire.
Thanks, Johnny.
Smoking hot. And
Unfortunately,
I'm not lying.
blood has the same effect on first-time vampires as alcohol has on first-time drinkers. And so Janet drinks too much blood at the vampire prom, and things go right where you
And
think
hilarity
they go.
ensues.
Great.
I mean,
Now, you've also had some amazing guests
The
on
line,
the show. As well.
"Hold
Sorry.
my hair," is in the show.
That's correct. That's correct.
Yeah, we have
yeah,
David
amazing guest
Kettner's
stars.
back, Maria Bamford, Matt Bronger, Scott Adsit, Christopher Mintz-Plasse. We have a lot of great guests.
Yeah.
well,
See,
I'm really excited about October 31st. I think it's going to be absolutely wonderful. Folks can tune in on IFC.
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 Seasons 1 and 2 are on Hulu and marathoning all month on IFC.